Hey everybody, welcome to Bura Around the Internet. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Facebook's new VR work at home solution. Alright, welcome back. Before I start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribes we get, the more content we can make. The number one reason why you subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel is to get into the money-making trends before it goes mainstream. So let's take a look at this new thing here. Called Horizon's Workroom. Now, if you haven't noticed, Around the Internet is where I basically talk about something around the internet. It's kind of a little bit less of a more of an informal way of just kind of looking at something on the internet. It can be a website, it can be a Reddit post, it can be a tweet, it can be a YouTube video. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just basically something around the internet that I find interesting that I think I need to tell you guys about. So here's the thing. So this was inevitable to happen. The fact that Facebook is doing this is kind of interesting. But essentially, you can now have a virtual office. And I don't know if people really want to do this. But nevertheless, this was inevitable. And we know that this was going to happen. So what it is if you look at some of the videos and the pictures here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. So I'll zoom in a bit. So what it is that you can now work in real time in VR. And and if you don't know, Facebook has their own Oculus VR sets. And, you know, they're pretty good. I have used them a couple times in the store. It was actually really quite awesome. But, you know, nevertheless, you could actually have your own workstation in VR. And you can basically work from anywhere. Now, I think this is a really interesting idea. I always thought that, you know, so what could happen in the future is that instead of you in front of your computer, you'll have you in front of a bunch of cloud services, and there'll be like a bunch of different screens. I think it might actually be a lot better. But you know what? The thing that I'm honestly thinking about right away is that these big companies are going to find a way to make sure that you're productive. And a lot of things are going to change for work. So, you know, you have to make sure that you're on top of everything. But, you know, as you can see from some of the images, you can go, well, where's the legs? I guess they don't have legs in this meeting because you don't need them, I guess. You can't play footsie with your coworker. Do people do that? I don't know. But nevertheless, you can see that there's there's a meeting here in VR, and, you know, you can just be there. Now, my thing and my take with meetings is that you should have as few of them as possible. And what's funny is I'm actually going to hop into a meeting with my coworkers right after this video. But that's not really the point, just because there's something important that I need to talk about. But, you know, at Mammoth, we have one meeting a week usually, maybe 1.5, and I would say at maximum like 6 meetings where the whole company gets together, but I always check in with everyone. All right, so you can see here that it's actually not a bad idea. You know, you can see that there are you can even interface with the real world, because who would want to do that, right? Who would want to interface with Zoom people? But this looks pretty cool, and you can have an avatar, right? You know. So I think this was inevitable that this would happen. Now, whether or not employees would want to go into this virtual workspace is a whole other thing. You know, I think that if this were to happen, it would be like the people who are like 10 years old now. And then once they get into the job marketplace, they could have a virtual meeting. But yeah. Anyway, so this is actually quite innovative. I mean, like, I'm not going to knock Facebook for this. This is really something that is really cool. Whether I would do it at my company is probably not. Maybe. See, I think that if you were to have a huge remote team, then having a virtual meeting once a month where you all like see your avatar or whatever wouldn't be a bad idea. In fact, if there's any reason that I would use this, it would be for that. So let's say I have a team of 20 people. Once a month, we all kind of get into this VR setting here, and we can. And what I would do personally is pick like a really funny location every time, and so And you could brand, and you know what? You could actually make it a little bit special. You could brand the meeting. Like one time you could be on top of Mount Doom. The other time you could be on like the Starship Enterprise. You know, you can be in these really funny locations. You know, you could be at the zoo in one of them. Like there's a lot of opportunity to make these meetings special, other than just your bland workspace environment. But that's just me personally. But anyway, you know, it's really interesting. I think it's cool. Again, whether or not employees are going to go for this. And the one thing I don't think people would like is like just setting yourself in VR. I think that's a little bit of the uncanny valley, especially if you're working from home. You know, maybe it might work. Like, let's say you have to really move to a rural location, and then you want to just kind of get the office feel. So maybe I could see a bunch of use cases that a lot of people would like. But you know, there's for every person that likes this, I think there's probably 2 people who don't like it. Like, I guess that's what you know, the way I would think about it is like there's for every person that likes it, there's probably 2 that don't like it. But you know, there are definitely some uses that I would probably use, and specifically the one that I mentioned. If you have a remote team, and that remote team you have to meet, you know, like once a month, say hi, you know, whatever, right? You know, you don't even need a VR set. But the thing is that the VR sets aren't exactly cheap. That's the other thing. It's like, you know, you can't expect a freelancer in a place where incomes aren't that high to buy a $500 one. So if they were like $100 to $200, and like the current gen ones, like $100 to $200, maybe $300, I think that would maybe be worth it. But anyway, yeah. So this is really cool. So Facebook launches Horizon Workrooms to power remote work. Very, very interesting. Very cool stuff. I really do look forward to see where this goes. All right. So that pretty much concludes this around the internet. If you want to know, if you have an idea for around the internet, please post it down below. Again, I'm going to be looking at a website. I can be looking at like a GitHub project or a CodePen project, a Reddit post, a tweet, a YouTube video. It doesn't matter. It's something around the internet that you guys might find helpful. So please post what you think down below. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.